Not sure how to save money on anything? Or is everything just too expensive? As a below poverty line individual, I get it. There are things I can teach you and ways to save money differently. So if that interests you, stay tuned. Welcome to my home and let's see what I am doing. Hey, banana. Hey guys, today in my kitchen we are making a simple one-pot sukiyaki. It is so easy to make and you can do this on your stovetop or in the slow cooker. So if that sounds good, stay tuned. Welcome to my home and let's see what I am doing. You will need mushrooms, a cabbage of any kind, half a block of firm tofu, 4 eggs, and some stock. I am using chicken stock here, vermicelli noodles, or you can use ramen, some rice, this is optional, some oil, any kind of meat you have in your freezer or fridge, such as chicken, beef, or pork, some soy sauce, and sugar, and some salt and pepper. So let's get started, shall we? So the first task we're going to start off with is simply chopping our meat into bite-sized pieces. We won't be cooking this through when we initially sear it because we're just trying to get a sear onto it. But it'll finish by boiling in the pot. Now season your pork or any kind of meat you're using. You can use chicken or beef for this also, like I mentioned in the intro. But just season with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're not going to start cooking this yet, so you can leave your oven off, but we're just going to slide our meat and some oil into a large pot. And then we are going to prep our Napa cabbage. So for this recipe, I might only use a quarter of the Napa cabbage, but you can always use this recipe for the ramen or curry that we're going to do throughout the next couple of weeks, so don't hesitate to add this into those. And simply to prepare Napa cabbage, you need to take all the leaves apart, and essentially you need to remove the stalk and cut it thinly. You can use it, but you need to cut it thinly. And we're going to add that in with our beef after the beef gets going a bit, just because we are searing the meat and not fully cooking it through initially. It will cook later in the recipe. So now that we've got our cabbage over here all nice and prepped, we're going to prep our look at that, it's the size of my palm. And I have big hands, so we're going to prep the mushrooms. I am simply, I think because I like how large these are, I'm just going to cut them into like a slice like that, so thinner on one end and thicker on the other. If you have smaller mushrooms, you can just leave them whole. And mushrooms will shrink as they cook. If you don't like mushrooms, you can also do like zucchini or a softer vegetable like that. And now that we have our veg prepped, I'm just going to simply chop up our tofu as well. So if you don't like tofu or you'd rather just stick with meat, that is fine too. But what I am going to do is I am going to cut the tofu into smaller chunks, and I am going to save some of this for my ramen too. But I am simply just going to do about 1 centimeter chops of this. So I forget if I mentioned, but another really good use for cabbage is simply bring a pot of water to a boil on the stovetop, add in your cabbage, and then you can add in like any seasonings, or you can keep it simple with salt and pepper, and then it's just a simple soup. It doesn't sound too good just because it is cabbage, but I used to really enjoy that, and I know that other kids enjoy that too because I babysat some that have. I think in my case, I'm going to make this rice optional, just like I said in the intro, but I'm not going to use it in my case just because I have the vermicelli. So now that we've gotten everything prepped, I'm simply just going to start on my cooking. I just need to make sure I'm turning on the right one. So I'm just going to set that to a 4 and hopefully that'll be hot enough. I just got a new oven, so I'm still learning the tricks of the trade here. So we are simply just going to start by searing our meat in an even layer, and then we'll continue on to the other ingredients. I should also point out that if you're doing this on the slow cooker, you would just do it all in the slow cooker and not have to worry about like anything else besides like chopping up the veg and meat, and then you can just throw it all in there and you'll be good to go. And now that our meat has started searing, you can add in your cabbage stems at this point and just ensure that they are all touching the bottom of the pan so they can start to cook. If you want, you can put a lid on this and it'll cook the stems quicker too. Now to this, now that we added the stems in, we're just going to add a turn of the pan, meaning one fell swoop going around of the pan of soy sauce. I'm just using a regular salted soy sauce, but you can do unsalted and salt it yourself. And I am going to add in a little bit of sugar, maybe about a tablespoon of white sugar, or you can do brown sugar for more flavor, and simply mix that in. We're also going to season with some salt and pepper at this point also. Just saying, don't ask me to do salt bay, I am not into that kind. Not that there's anything wrong with him, it's just not my thing. And just so you know, traditionally, if you were making this in Japan, you would also add in some mirin or sake. I don't drink, so sake would be wasted on me. And mirin, I think I ran out of, so that's why I'm not going to add it in today. So for this, you are just going to cook this down until the stems become a bit softer, or a lot softer in this case, and then we'll add in the rest. And now that our stems have softened quite a bit, I am simply going to add the remainder of the veg and the tofu. I am going to stir it through and heat it up a little bit, just so it's all nice and warm and gets those wonderful soy sauce and sugar flavors throughout. And the important thing is just to kind of give it a mix every now and then, just so everything kind of gets to the bottom and cooks through. The important part with this is that your vegetables release their juices, because that will help to flavor this dish. We can always go and readjust our seasoning if needed, but not until after the dish is done at this point.
Ding ding dong!
And now that the juices have so let's get started, shall we? My broth, it can be chicken, beef, or pork broth, or even like turkey. Basically anything you can get your hands on that is a meat-based broth like chicken or beef. At this point, I am also going to season with a bit more salt and pepper, unless your broth is salted. And now we just simply have to let this simmer away for about 10 minutes maybe. Then we'll add in everything else, including our eggs and our vermicelli noodles. After you add in your vermicelli noodles, if you feel like the soup is not thick enough, you can also do 1 tablespoon of flour, like a heaping tablespoon, with a bit of water to make a slurry and thicken it that way. But you don't do that until after you see how much your vermicelli soaks up, obviously. And I should also point out that I added 4 cups of broth. So once this starts simmering, you're going to be able to let this sit for 10 minutes, and that'll cook everything all the way through to perfection. And now that we're 2 minutes out from kind of finishing the simmering of this, we are going to crack in 4 eggs and stir them in. I know that sounds weird. And for me, I like a thicker consistency rather than a thinner one. So we'll see how this works in a second here so that I know whether I need to add a slurry. So this is if you like a thicker consistency. I'm going to take about a spoonful or about 2 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to get some of that broth in here. We'll see how many in a second here. I'd say about 4 scoops, and then we're just going to give that a stir and add it in to our soup. I'm trying to make this more like a stew in case you didn't realize. I might need some more liquid, and that's fine. Just add until it's a nice slurry, which means a thicker liquid, basically. Stir that in and let it thicken. It takes a few moments to thicken, so just wait for about a minute or 2. And that'll tell you if you want it thicker or not. Another helpful tip is if you don't have flour, you can always do a cornstarch slurry also. And now that this has thickened nicely, I'm gonna add in my vermicelli, and we'll see how much thicker it gets. Again, you can always add water if you need to loosen it, but like I said, I like thicker, so we'll see how this does. You will see like the broken up egg in there, and that's what's supposed to happen. So don't worry if you see like egg chunks. We're not trying to blend it in. So just cook the vermicelli according to package instruction. It could be 1 or 2 minutes, or it could be more. It just depends how soft it gets. in these next few minutes because you want them to be nice and tender. So now that my noodles have cooked through, I am simply just going to take this off the heat and I'm going to test for seasoning here right now. Maybe a bit more salt and pepper. Don't worry, I cleaned my spoon and I'm gonna have another taste. So an optional extra for this, if you want a bit of color, you can always do some green onion, which will add a nice color to it. I might do that actually. Simply adding in my green onion over top. It is frozen, but it'll defrost nicely, so don't worry about that. It'll be just as good. So let me just get a little shot for you to show you how good it looks. So I am just going to taste a mushroom and let you know how it is. Mushrooms are the secret in telling how your flavor is because they soak up everything. You can taste the sweetness from the vegetables, which is exactly what I was wanting in here. The pork is cooked beautifully, so I don't have to worry about that being undercooked at all. And the seasonings are amazing in this. It is so simple, so good. I highly recommend you try it. And until next time, banana. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my content here today, liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing helps my channel go so far, and I appreciate those that do. See you next time. Banana.